Ready to learn some fascinating history and boost your English vocabulary at the same time? Today, we're traveling back in time to explore the spread of Christianity in the Roman Empire, a story full of powerful events, brave individuals, and words that will help you grow your English skills. As we move through this story, we'll pause to highlight and explain some important and challenging vocabulary words. Let's begin our journey through history and language. Christianity started in a world with strong leaders and very big empires. About 2,000 years ago, when Augustus and Tiberius were the leaders, a man named Jesus of Nazareth began to teach a new religion in the Roman area of Judea. Let's pause for our first vocabulary word: principalities. Principalities means the time a leader rules, or the land they rule. For example, the Principality of Caesar was a time of great change for Rome. So, when we say the principalities of Augustus and Tiberius, we mean the time these two men were the leaders of the Roman Empire. Jesus' teachings were revolutionary. He spoke about love for one's neighbor, a belief that everyone should care for and help others, no matter their background or status. This idea challenged many traditions and beliefs of the time. It encouraged people to treat others with kindness and respect, even if they were strangers or even enemies. As his followers grew in number, they started to gather together, forming the first communities. Here's another key word: communities. A community is a group of people living together in the same place or sharing common interests. For example, our local community is very friendly and always helps each other. These early Christian communities met in homes and small gatherings, supporting each other in their faith. But the rise of Christianity was not easy. Christians quickly found themselves persecuted by Roman authorities. Let's look at our next word: persecuted. To be persecuted means to be treated unfairly or cruelly because of one's beliefs. For example, they were persecuted for their religion. Christians were persecuted because their beliefs were different from the official religion of Rome. Instead of worshiping the emperor as a divinity, they chose to follow their own faith. Let's pause and explain worship. To worship means to show honor and devotion to a deity or god. For instance, people go to church to worship God. In ancient Rome, the emperor was often seen as a divinity, a divine state or being like a god. Here's an example. Ancient Romans believed in the divinity of their emperor. Christians refused to take part in these religious practices. Refused means to say no to something or to reject it. For example, he refused to worship the emperor. Because they refused to worship the emperor as a divinity, Christians were seen as a threat to the Roman order. They were sometimes arrested, punished, or even killed for their beliefs. Despite these dangers, their faith continued to grow and more communities formed. Within these communities, leadership was important. The early church was often led by bishops, another key word. Bishops are important religious leaders in the Christian church. For example, the bishop led the service and spoke to the congregation. Bishops helped organize the church, teach the faith, and support believers during difficult times. Over time, the church became more organized, with bishops overseeing different regions and helping to keep the community strong. As Christianity spread, some followers wanted to dedicate themselves completely to their faith. Groups of men, known as monks, began to live together in special places called monasteries. Let's pause here. Monks are men who dedicate their lives to religion and often live apart from regular society. For example, the monks live a simple life focused on prayer and work. Monasteries are buildings or complexes where monks live and practice their faith. For instance, the ancient monastery was very quiet and peaceful. These monks dedicated themselves to lives of prayer, work, and assistance for the weak. To dedicate oneself means to give your time and effort to a task or purpose. For example, they dedicated themselves to helping others in need. Prayer, our next word, means talking to God, either silently or out loud. Example: he said a silent prayer before going to sleep. Many monks spent hours each day in prayer, seeking spiritual connection and guidance. Monks also worked hard, growing food, copying books, and providing assistance to those who needed help. Assistance means help or support. For example, the nurse provided assistance to the patient in the hospital. Monasteries often became places where the poor, sick, or weak could go for help. Weak means not strong or in need of support. For instance, the doctor helped the weak old man recover from his illness. The work of monks and the organization of bishops helped Christianity survive many challenges. Over centuries, the faith spread across the Roman Empire, reaching people of many different backgrounds and languages. Despite persecution, refusal to worship the emperor, and many other difficulties, Christianity became one of the world's largest religions. Its teachings about love, kindness, and helping others changed the lives of millions and left a lasting mark on history. Let's take a moment to review the important vocabulary words we learned today. Principalities, the period of a ruler's reign. Persecuted, treated unfairly or cruelly for one's beliefs. Refused, to say no to something. Worship, to show honor or devotion to a deity. Divinity, a divine state or being, like a god. Communities, groups of people living together. Bishops, important religious leaders in the church. Monks, men who dedicate their lives to religion. Monasteries, buildings where monks live. Dedicated themselves to give time and effort to a task. Prayer, talking to God. Assistance, help or support. Weak, not strong or in need of help. Now it's your turn. Try to write a sentence using one of these new words in the comments below. Which word was most interesting to you? Remember to like and subscribe for more history and English lessons. With every story, you're not just learning about the past, you're building your future with new language skills. Thank you for joining this journey through history and English.